It was a chilly night on March 9th, 1965, in Arlington, Virginia, at Mr. Calculator's home at Harcroft Mansion. The sun had just set over the bay and dinner was almost ready to be served. Mr. Algebra was the first to arrive. He was dressed cleanly from head to toe in a designer suit and tie, with his brown hair slicked back perfectly. He always looked like he was ready to make a business deal, and he certainly was. Miss Polynomial arrived next in her white Toyota Prius. She was always very demanding about doing her part for the environment, even when it came to how she dressed. Her attire was entirely earth tones, blue, green, and brown. Her dress was made from recycled material, and somewhat resembled the map of the earth. Her red hair fell just low enough that the ends brushed the top of her shoulders. The doorbell rang again, and the maid greeted Mrs. Independent. Though the maid greeted her with a friendly gesture, Mrs. Independent just strutted by without even glancing in the maid's direction. Though no one would know what she was looking for, her large sunglasses were still perched flawlessly on the bridge of her nose, her chestnut hair tightly pulled back into a bun, and a scarf draped around her neck. The last to arrive was Miss Decimal. This came to no surprise to any of the other guests. She has a reputation for arriving fashionably late. Normally, she arrives a bit flustered and overwhelmed by the fact that she was late, but this time was different. She arrived cool, calm, and collected, almost as if she was on a mission. Her strawberry blonde hair, naturally curly, was straightened and sleek to match her form-fitting, ivy-colored dress. She walked in with her chin held high as she motioned her purse to the maid to be brought to her bedroom. All guests had arrived by 6 p.m., were settled and relaxed while they waited for the dinner bell. Dinner was scheduled to be served at 8 p.m., but Mr. Calculator was not anywhere to be found. The guests started wondering when dinner might be served when the clock hit 8:15 p.m. None of the other guests knew exactly why they were all invited to Harcroft Mansion, but they did know that it was for something big. The clock struck 8:30 p.m. The doorbell rang, and all the guests wondered who it might be. Another guest arriving late? A driver whose car had broken down? A package? No one knew why that doorbell would have rung exactly at 8:30. The maid walked briskly to the front door, anxiously for some reason. When she reached the door, she opened it not only to find Mr. Calculator lying on the ground, dead, with no one else in sight. She let out a scream, and the other guests came running to the door to see what had happened. All their eyes rested on Mr. Calculator's body, still and cold. Miss Polynomial let out a short gasp and covered her mouth, while the others stood there in shock, unsure of what had just happened. The maid ran to the phone and called 911. She frantically said, "There had been a murder at Harcroft Mansion. Come immediately." "This is where you come in. You have been assigned to the Harcroft Mansion murder. It is up to you to solve it and reveal the truth of the killer. You will be able to investigate the crime scene, interview the witnesses, and inspect each room of the mansion where the murder might have occurred. Through mathematical solving and skill, you will gain clues that will help you discover the truth behind Harcroft Mansion. So let's get to it. There isn't much time. More lives could be on the line."